Hello and welcome back to the project. In this section, we're going to be working on the future tags. That is the tags that we have already here. We're going to be filtering them, okay, bringing in some values that matches the tags that we have here. Then it brings out the exact match of the tags that we have here. So in case we have tax 1, tax 2, tax 3. So we're going to filter them. So if we have T here, tax, then we put O. Then what this will actually do is to help us get the ones that matches the value that is coming into this input. All right, so it matches the tax that we have here, then it streamlines it to the exact one that it has. So that's what we'll be doing in the course of this section. So firstly, let's go down to our load event listener, and we have filter. So we have filter dot add event listener. So we are listening to a key up. Okay, so we have filter tags. So that will be the name of the function. Then let's go down it and create a function for filter tags. So we have filter tags. Alright, so create a function for that. So we have filter tags. Don't forget to put in your event parameter in there. So firstly, we're going to declare a variable for text, and we assign e.target. So we want to get a target of what we have coming inside this input. So we have console.log, then we'll put in text there. Alright, so what this is actually giving us is that the values that we are bringing or putting into this input, we want to get a target, want to get the values inside that, the value that is coming into this input. That's what we want to do. We want to target them. So if I come down here and put in anything, so we see that it brings in the values right in our console. So I can better still use a dot to lowercase. So in case I have my caps lock, it's still going to give me, what's that? Let's remove this. In case I have my caps lock, it's still going to give me the value in lowercase. So in case I have my caps lock, okay, so I have this, my caps lock on, so it's giving me the value right here in lowercase. All right, now that's it for that. Now let's move on to what we have to do. The next stuff we're going to do here is to select the list group item. That's the list items that we are going to be having passed in here. So we put walkie dog. So we're going to select the item here, the class, the list group item, because it's through this item we can do the match when we are fixing in our values into this filter tags input. All right, so we just come down here, we have document, let me remove my caps lock, document dot query selector all. I'm going to use query selector all. Okay, so we are selecting the class of list hyphen group hyphen item. Okay, then we have dot for each. Okay, now the reason why we're using this for each directly is because If you remember, when we are dealing with multiple and single element method, I said earlier that this query selector all returns a node list. So if we're using a method like get element by class, that returns an HTML collection, and that will require us to convert that HTML collection to an array before we can make use of the node, before we can make use of the for each. So, but using the query selector all, we don't need to do any conversion. We just use the for each directly and it gives us our desired result. So we're going to put in a callback function here, and I'm going to put tags as the iterator, and let's open this. I'm going to put in declare variable called item, and I'm going to assign the tags, which is the iterator dot first child. So we're starting from the first child, the text content. All right, so put a semicolon at the end of that. Now we're going to do an if else. Do an if else. So what are we passing inside here? So we have if item dot to lowercase, because we used the lowercase initially when we started this program. All right, then we have dot index of text. Now what really is coming into this index of? Now what is coming here is what is being passed into the input. Okay, so we are the values that are passed into the input, we are going to be getting the index of, we're going to be passing them into the index of method. Okay, so if that is not equals to -1, then what actually happens here? If it's not equals to -1, then we want the tags to show. So what we're going to do here is tags dot style dot display, or what's that, dot display, then we assign a block to that, put a semicolon at the end. So I'm going to copy this, and else if there is no match, then we hide it. Okay, else if no match, then we hide the we hide it there. So we're going to check that out now. Okay, now let's get the results. Let's go check this out. So I'm just going to use tags 1, tags 2, tags 3. All right, so we have tags 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'm just going to put here T tags, then okay, so you see what is happening here. Okay, so there is a match here, so it streamlines it to the exact one that we have. So if I put here tags T, okay, so you see that there are 2 match right here. So I'm going to put the W and O, streamlines to the exact one that we have here. So that is just basically how we can filter the list items that we have here. I believe you had a good understanding of what we did here. It's very easy. Firstly, we went down to the top and created a listener for key up. So the key up listener that's enabling us to achieve this. Then we targeted the value coming in from the inputs, then we took it to a lowercase. All right, then we selected the list group item. That's these items that are coming in here, these items that we have here. We selected it using a query selector all. Then we used the for each to loop through each one of them using the tags as an iterator. Then we declared the variable for item, and we picked in the first child, which is the text content. We picked in the first child, and we used the text content of the first child to start the iteration. Then we have if item to lowercase, because we have a lowercase starting this up here, dot index of text. Now this values that's coming in from the input, we are assigning it to text, so we're bringing the text to the index of our method. All right, so if it's not equals to -1, we want this to show, but if there is no match, we want to hide the whole thing. So that's all what we did here to achieve this particular fleet. I'm sure you have a good understanding of that. And in our next session, we dive into the persisting of local storage in this particular browser. All right, thank you for your time.